Hi, welcome to our YouTube video. My name is Bob, and this is my sweetie, Trisha. You want to say hi, sweetie?
Hi, baby. Oops.
Okay, good.
Hi.
So, the name of this is Finding Love as a Senior Citizen. This is our real story. So, if you're over 60, or if you're a senior citizen and you're looking for love, maybe you think it's too late. Maybe you think it's not going to happen. Whatever you think. If you do think that, then maybe you're in the wrong place. But if you have any hope at all, if you'd like to hear a true story, we want to tell our story, and that's what we're here to do today. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. So here's our table of contents. Excuse me one second. I guess part of it got cut off, but that says table of contents. So first is our introduction, which is where we are right now. And then I want to talk about, or we want to talk about the online encounter that sparked a connection. That's right, we met online. The meeting that changed everything and building a unique relationship. Unique, maybe not, but certainly and I don't even know if I want to say unusual, but we're building our own relationship. We're writing our own fairy tale. I want to talk about where we are now and where do we go from here, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so I will start, and we'll let Sweetie come in, and we'll both tell our story. So uh, my track record with past relationships is colorful. Let's just say that. And I was 66 years old. This was 4 years ago. I'm 70 now, and uh, I decided I'm a teacher. I have summers off, or I had a couple months off, and I wanted to go online and see if I could meet somebody that might be interested in me, who I might be interested in her. And I put an ad online with a picture, a recent picture at the time, uh, just a random picture. I didn't, have to dress up or anything like that. And I put an ad on online that was very straightforward. It wasn't, trying to impress anyone. It was respectful, but it was basically saying who I am and who and what I'm looking for. And that's all there was to it. I wasn't trying to catch flies. I wasn't trying to, I wanted to see if somebody was out there who would actually relate to what I had to say. And the woman you see on the screen answered my ad. And that's how it all began. Now, keep in mind, she didn't say, or she didn't show me a picture. So I had no idea what she looked like. I knew she was a black woman, and I wasn't necessarily looking for a black woman. I wasn't looking for that, wasn't even important to me. I was looking for somebody who I could share some fun with and get along with. And I didn't really have any expectations beyond that. However, as time goes on, and now that I look back, I think down deep, we're all looking for the same thing. But by the time you get to be our age, maybe we've been burned, we've been disappointed, whatever. Uh, we become a little skeptical. So I didn't really have, I didn't want to be disappointed again, I guess is what the biggest thing is. So she answered my ad. We uh, briefly spoke online, not like this. I think we traded an email or two, but I didn't want to go for pictures and chat and try to get to know each other online and all that stuff that people want to do before they meet. I said, let's just meet. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. She lives about 20 minutes away from where I live, and we'll take it from there. We'll meet for 15 minutes. If we want to stay longer than 15 minutes, we will. And if we don't, then no harm, no foul. We'll go our separate ways. So that's basically how this whole thing got started. So let me switch here for just a second. And so I will talk a little bit about my version of our meeting, and then I'll let her talk, and we'll take it from there. So we met at a Starbucks that was somewhere between the two of us. And by the way, this was during the lockdown, the pandemic lockdown in 2020. And we met at a Starbucks. It was a hot summer day. It was July 5th. And I mean, it was really hot that day. And we get to the Starbucks, and because of the pandemic, there's no seating. You got to go in, you got to wear a mask inside, and you got to go out. So here we are standing in the parking lot on this hot summer day. And I said, I know of a park a few blocks from here. Maybe we can go there and talk. And she agreed. So we drove. It was, 3 or 4 blocks away, couple-minute drive. And we sat at a park bench, and we moved a few different times because uh, the sun position changed, and so did we. And I was telling her what I was looking for. I was trying to just be open and honest. I wasn't trying to impress her, but I wanted, I didn't want to be disrespectful either. So anyway, that's how it started. Now she has a few things about that particular meeting that she wants to talk about. She's already laughing about it. I know what she's going to say. But I should also point out, she didn't in her response to me, she didn't tell me her real age, and she didn't tell me her real name. Now keep in mind, I understand there's you don't know who you're going to run into when you meet online. And when she did finally, not finally, when she did agree to meet me, she said she was going to meet me after church. Now, I don't go to church. I'm not knocking church. I'm not here to bash religion or anything like that. But as I'm driving there, I'm expecting, I don't know what she's going to, I don't know what's going to expect. I was actually kind of nervous. So that's how it began. So, sweetie, do you want to take it from there?
So I was going to church online through my normal church. And so when the church ended, I went over to the Starbucks to meet, went in, got coffee. He got to the Starbucks and said, "Oh, I don't even drink coffee," which was pretty funny. Anyway, so and it was very hot, and we went to the park, and he started talking about Venn diagrams, and that's what I'm laughing about because it is true. You have to find to see what you have the most in common with. You're not going to have 100% in common with each other, but what is in the middle? If you know what a Venn diagram is, what's those things that connect you? And very quickly, I was amazed on how much we had in common, actually. There was nothing strained about our talk. Everything seemed to flow and it kept going and kept going. And I grabbed a blanket out of my car and we moved from a bench to a tree to move another, and the sun was following us, and several hours later we left there instead of 15 minutes, and we've been together ever since.
Well, that's my version too, but the Venn diagram thing, she likes to tell that part. So yeah, 4 hours went by, and that's the 15 minutes turned into several hours, and we both kind of simultaneously realized we gotta, I got things I gotta do, we gotta go. And we agreed to meet, and a few days later we got together, and as she said, that's it's we're still doing it. What can I say? So, building a unique relationship. So, unique again, I don't know if it's necessarily unique, but it's got our name on it. We're not trying I think one of the things we agreed on, some of the things that we agreed on, is that uh, we're not in high school anymore. We don't have to be like everybody else. We're gonna do what we want to do. We want to do what's right for us. My mantra in life is honesty, respect, and best effort. And I told her from the start, that's pretty much all you're going to get from me. I'll do the best I can. I'm going to be straight with you. I'll be respectful with you. And that's really all I want from you. We realize, if you can see in the background, her background, she's a Dodger fan. Well, so am I. We're both lifelong Dodger fans. We knew we had that in common, but we decided we were going to commit to the relationship, but we didn't have an end game in mind. You know, marriage, going steady, whatever you want to call it. We didn't even, it wasn't even part of it. We're going to take it one day at a time, and we're going to make decisions that concern the both of us. We'll make those decisions together. And meanwhile, let's just enjoy life and see where this thing goes. It's been almost 4 years. Today is April 7th, 2024. That was July 5th, 2020. So, let's see how this thing goes. And that's what we've been doing. You want to add to that, sweetie?
No, that is what we've been doing. It's just it's our own what do we call it? Our own fairy tale. There is no such thing as fairy tales, but it's our own story, and we've been doing a good job at that.
Yeah, I remember one of the first things we did was we went bike riding with a group of people. And after one of those bike rides, I don't know how we got started on the subject of fairy tales, but I told her I don't believe in fairy tales. And she didn't like that. I thought she was mad at me. I thought she was going to leave me, actually. And I said, but I do want to write my own fairy tale. I want us to write our own fairy tale. And as it turns out, eventually she realized where I was coming from, and she told me she understands. And that's what we've been doing. Now, it's not to say life has been one big fairy tale, because we're like anybody else. We have our issues. We don't agree on things, even though I'm right. Well, she'll probably tell you she's right. No, we have our issues, but what we don't do is we don't fight. We don't fight. We discuss. Sometimes it gets a little emotional. I'm usually the one that gets more emotional. But when it gets to that point, we table it. We talk about it later like two adults, and we find ways to work things out, find ways to compromise. Let's decide what's best for us. And bottom line is, the relationship is what's most important. Yeah, we both want what we want, and we both should get what we want, but we're not going to always get everything we want all the time. And I think we're both pretty good at understanding that. Are we? Are you? Do you have anything to add to that, sweetie?
No, I mean, if we were to say we had an argument, we've probably had five heated discussions in all this 4 years. I mean, we really haven't. I mean, even when we took a cross country trip in a car, our road trips are very hard, and we just get along pretty well, and it's pretty easy as long as we both listen to each other.
So she just mentioned a road trip. I had learned about a road, US 50, not interstate, but US 50, that starts in Sacramento. And I used to live in the Sacramento area. And it goes all the way to Ocean City, Maryland. And I discovered it quite by accident when I was in Sacramento, and it says Ocean City, Maryland, 3,073 miles. Well, I read about the story, how it all happened, and it actually started in Ocean City, Maryland. The city manager or somebody like that put it up in Ocean City, saying that Sacramento was 3,073 miles. And I wanted to take that trip, and we started talking about it. Next thing you know, we're planning it. And the next thing you know, we're doing it. And so we drove, took 7 days to drive across country. We were in the car. We spent 24/7 going all the way across country, and we made it to Ocean City, Maryland in 7 days. By the way, we're baseball fans, and we stopped in St. Louis for a ball game, and we stopped in Baltimore for a ball game. We stopped. did we go to Kansas City? That was on the way back, right?
On the way back.
Yeah. So we stopped in St. Louis, then we went to Baltimore, and then on our way back, we went through Kansas City. My son lives in Kansas City, and we stopped and saw him on the way. And she says, "So, by the way, how are we going home?" And I said, "I hadn't really thought about that." She says, "Well, maybe we can go down to Texas." And we were in Kansas City, and okay, let's go. So off we went down to Texas, and I met a friend. We met a friend that I've known for many years who's a Texas Rangers fan, and we went to a ball game with him in Texas. And then we took the 10 freeway. We live in Southern California. We took the 10 freeway back through Phoenix, and our favorite team, the Dodgers, were playing in Phoenix. And then we drove home. So we did over 7,000 miles in 15 days. And we started planning our next trip. It was a wonderful trip. We had a couple of disagreements along the way, but it flowed. It just flowed. Excuse me. We had one.
Mhm.
What happened? I forgot.
I think I was talking over you.
Oh, yeah. Well, that happens anyway. So the next thing, I like cruising, and she didn't want to go cruising she had a bunch of reasons why. But for that Christmas 2021, I talked her into going to on her first cruise, and here we are, 3.5 years later, a little less than 3.5 years now, but she's planning her eighth, and we're planning our eighth. Isn't it our eighth cruise together this coming July?
Yeah.
So, we've gone on several cruises together, spent several days together. Not our last one, we went on one this past fall for 11 days. But, we've been on 7-day cruises, 4 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, up to 11 days. And our next one will be 8 days. So, needless to say, we get along pretty well, and we still go to ball games, and we still enjoy life one day at a time. Now, let me double check and see what we're looking at here. So yeah, I think it's these. I think it's safe to say we are writing our own fairy tale, and that includes basically just being like two little kids running through the park barefoot on a rainy day, giggling. I mean, we have a lot of laughs. We make each other laugh. We're goofy as can be, and we're not trying to be like anybody else. The conventional thing, people want to know when you're going to get married. Well, we don't have that in our plans. It's not to say we'll never get married, but that's not what drives us. We talked about living together. We both realize that we really like our independence. We like our alone time, our solitude. And so our dream house would be big enough for her to live in one part of the house, me to live in the other part of the house, and have a part in the middle for both of us. We haven't found that, but we're working on it. Meanwhile, we live in separate places, and we get together. We make time for each other, and we get together at least once a week, but sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 times a week. It really just depends on what our schedules are. And when we're not together, we're still together in our hearts, and we talk and text and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me 1 second. So I will point out part of this fairy tale has had, I won't call it a tragedy, but I was diagnosed with cancer last year. And she was my caretaker. And I'll be forever grateful for that. She was by my side every step of the way. And that's just been part of what we've gone through together. You want to add to that, sweetie?
I think that made us stronger. I mean, there's like no doubt I had to be there you're part of me. So I had to be by your side the entire time. Uh, I would have been miserable sitting at home wondering. So I had to be there and got through it and good news. So,
I will add to that. We had planned an 8-day cruise last summer, but I was in treatment for well, for 7 weeks last summer. So we had to cancel our plans. We had a baseball trip as part of the, after the cruise, before and after the cruise. So the 11-day cruise that we went on in the fall turned out to be a better deal for us, because originally it was supposed to be 8 days in the summer and it cost X amount. But in the fall, off season, it was cheaper and we got 3 extra days. I think the cost was about the same, but we got 3 extra days. So it ended up working out pretty well in the long run.
Yep,
So
great cruise.
anyway, let's see, where are we now? Well, uh, I don't even know how to say that, except that we were together several times this week. She's at home, I'm at home, because we have to do what we have to do. But we are very much, I can say with conviction that we are very much in love, and we tell each other we love each other regularly. We're continuing to work on ourselves and to work on our relationship, and we continue to have a lot of fun. As I said, we're planning another cruise and baseball trip this summer. We've got a baseball game, a Dodger game next. Is it next week or 2 weeks? Yeah, the 21st, 2 weeks from today. And when we're on our cruise, or after our cruise, we'll be going to some ball games on the East Coast. And uh, we're still skipping along like two little kids barefoot running through the park. So you want to add to that, sweetie?
Yeah, it's in a way it's kind of sick, but it's kind of fun because we are like teenagers. It's ridiculous how well and how wonderful it is.
All right, good. Well, where do we go from here? Gosh, I don't have an answer for that. I like to believe that tomorrow, Monday, April the 8th, we'll still be in each other's lives. And, we are planning vacation this summer. Uh, but, we do have things that we talk about that we want to do. We both want to retire. Neither one of us are in a position to retire today, but we're both working towards that. And I can't speak for her, but I can speak for myself. I don't know that I'll ever completely retire. I want to retire from working for somebody else, and continue working online, doing what I'm already doing, which is teaching English as a second language, and working on this website where you'll see this video, Helpful Senior Citizen, helping other seniors with things that concern seniors. And in this case, it's finding love. I don't know what you want to say about that, sweetie.
I was just gonna say that people make relationships so complicated and meeting people so complicated. And I know in the past I've been on phone calls and texting and oh my goodness, hours of texting. We just need to go back to the old way of doing it and just meet people. And the meeting people nowadays is online. We can't wait around for someone. We're gonna run into somebody in the grocery store on Sunday morning or whatever. I mean, you have to put yourself out there, be ready, know what you want, and uh, and go for it. And that's what we did. And miraculously, as I said one time, and embarrassed Bob, was I kissed a lot of frogs, and then I met my prince.
Aw, isn't that sweet? All
It's
right.
true.
It is, and she caught me off guard. It was on our cross country road trip, and we met a high school friend of mine in Colorado. It was a woman. She was going west, we were going east, and we met for lunch in Colorado. And Trisha had never met my high school friend, and that's what she said to her. And I was kind of taken aback, but it is cute, and I'm honored that she feels that way. I'm honored to be her sweetie, and I'm honored that she's mine. I want her by my side. So let me just uh, kind of to wrap it up here. I got a few things I want to say, and maybe she does too. I think the key is, well, there's a lot of keys. It's not just one key, but starting with, do you know who you are? Really? Do you know who you are at your core? Do you know what really drives you? Do you know what you really want? And do you know what you really don't want, what you won't put up with? That's where this whole thing began for me. And I was, like I said, when I put that ad, I just wanted, I knew from my failures and my successes who I really am and what I really want and what I'm not going to put up with and what I don't want. And I put all of that in the ad. And I think that's vitally important. Going forward in any relationship, I don't care if it's, what kind of relationship, whether it's a business relationship, a, a love relationship, whatever, bowling partners. If you can't be honest with each other, you're doomed. You got to be straight with each other. You got to put the team first. And that's what we do. We're going to always be
Always be.
individuals. We're going to always be individuals. We're never going to be, totally in sync, but we hold the relationship dear to both of us. And I think that's a major, major deal. We take responsibility for our own shortcomings and character defects in our discussions. We air it out, but we don't blame each other and yell at each other. And we just don't do that. I mean, I've done that, and I'm sure, I don't know, I can't speak for her, but that's not what we're doing. So I'm not really sure what else to say except we got lucky. We are fortunate. I don't say that we're continuing to be lucky. We got lucky on July 5th, 2020. Both of us have, it doesn't work out like this all the time. We got lucky this time, but we took the luck, we bottled it, and we ran with it. And we realize how fortunate we are, and we're doing what we need to do to keep it this way. And I think that's another major key to the whole thing. You gotta both want it, and you gotta both be willing to do what it takes to keep it, because it's fleeting. And I don't know about you. I don't know what your story is. I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you, the listener, the viewer, whatever. Uh, Here today, gone tomorrow. I just don't think that's our story, but it's been part of my story before, and I've been on both sides of the fence, and I don't like it. So that's all I have to say. What do you want to add to that, sweetie?
I think that's it. It's our story.
Okay, good. Well, I want to thank you for listening and watching. I hope that you can relate to this. I hope that you will like our video and with a thumbs up below the video. That would be very nice. If you have questions or comments, there's a comment section below in the comments box. Please go ahead and leave those, and we will answer. One of us will, or both of us will. It'd be great if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can read about an article that corresponds with this video on my website, helpfulseniorcitizen.com. There's a lot of good things there that concern seniors, and we'd love to have you be part of the journey in this on world online world that we live in now. So with that, unless you have nothing else to say, sweetie, it's over and out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Then over and out. Bye-bye.